Start of the third quarter here at Waverley, and Herbert goes up against Everett. Everett palms it down beautifully. St Kilda straight into attack. Hall! He pushed and gave away a free kick to Bassett.
Yeah, and Campbell's just come on to his first run today. He was the player that got that ball forward. Very good centre bounce player. So you'll see him get a lot of the footy from that part of the ground.
Gee, Burton's a good player. He doesn't wait for the ball. He goes and meets it. Good mark. Into midfield. Bickley pops up a hand pass. Jarman working up to midfield. McLeod slippery as an eel. Here goes Burton again. Oh, you're holding it. He tried to beat the paddock. And that's one of the few spectacular things he's done this year that have come unstuck.
And I'll tell you what, Mick, when you make a change as a coach and you get an instant response like Brad Campbell here, centre bounce, now laid a strong tackle, that's a good outcome.
Yeah, he got that kick out of the middle and now the tackle, and that's all in the first minute.
So he works with Burke now. He goes to half forward. Here's Hall a long way out. Bassett right there with him in front. Hall comes back a second and dives on the ball. They're all asking the question now. It spins on out and eventually over the line through the legs of Austin Jones. Jones with 14 first half disposals and some great running. Picked up a goal.
It's good work by Barry Hall. Head in the hole. Didn't worry about the consequences. Made sure he got first hands on the footy. Good play.
Low in front spot, takes it away, but Hart right there with him, so they can't clear it. They all dive in on it again, and it'll be bounced. Robbie Harvey, the last man up. Back into the side. He's missed 4 of the last 5 games, and in that time, the Saints have lost 3 of those 4. Thompson from low, across the body. Wakeland in the forward line. He tries to rip down the top, but it's Risciuto in front, surely. And umpire Scotty McLaren sees it the same way. And that was magnificent play. No doubt it's a set play of St Kilda's. As soon as the ball's in flight, Aussie Jones, the player that peels off the contest. Risciuto was aware of that on that occasion because in the first quarter, that's what Aussie Jones did and got the footy. But Risciuto was well aware of it. He peeled off his opponent in Harvey, dropped back into that hole to take a great mark. Risciuto and Bassett, a couple of possessions each, and eventually Risciuto out to the near side. The bounce doesn't favour Smart, misses him completely, and it'll be thrown in.
And fellas, you were right, Drew. Stevens did get it off on that troublesome knee at the opening bounce, and he doesn't look like taking any further part in the game.
Well, that's a severe blow there to Malcolm Blight on the side.
Well, that's number 5, is it, for the season? Lost count.
That's correct.
That's unbelievable.
Tony Francis across the body, doesn't get it out. Risciuto again.
Playing a great game, this boy, Terry.
Playing well across half-back. He really returned to form last week. Had a heap of touches, over 30. And this man's in form. Burton.
That's a good kick.
Excellent kick into McLeod.
We saw far too many turnovers by both sides in the first half with the poor kicking. Let's hope they can get it right.
So McLeod this time falls short of Benke, but he takes it on the bounce. Handball's back. Hart drifting further from goal. Comes in now towards centre half forward. Doesn't find a mark. Here's Campbell with some strength. Just pushed on that. Finds low at half back.
Yeah, Campbell playing just his 3rd game for the season and doing particularly well at the start of this second half. Rob Harvey shows it to Risciuto. Risciuto gets a smother in. Overrun by Lowe, and then he's pushed. And a free kick to Stewie Lowe.
Someone's got to pick up Harvey, work for their teammate because Risciuto's standing the mark. Good cover there by Ben Hart.
Comes in short to Aussie Jones. No addition to the score. And we've been playing a few minutes in this third quarter. Peckett near midfield. Goes for a bit of distance into the breeze. Hall caught behind. Bassett, well done. Well done, Fred. Smart. Kick by Smart. Wobbles straight to Aussie Jones. Worst bloke on the field to give it to. And Aussie coming up for his 16th disposal. Out short to Wakeland. He's kicked to half forward. Hall. Yeah, good lead. He's a mile from goal. One in short. Oh, smothered by Bassett, the man on the mark.
We're still seeing these poor kicks.
Yeah, we certainly are, Curls. You suggested the first half was full of turnovers. This stage, players just aren't balancing themselves to use the ball effectively. They're putting themselves under pressure by trying to move the ball too quickly when they're not far away from the mark, as in that Hall situation.
Lowe couldn't complete the one-hander. Actually takes it all the way to the ground, holding it in one hand, and that is holding the ball, Stewie.
During turnovers are Adelaide 13 and St Kilda 15 in a half a footy, and just over, far too many from two quality teams.
So Ben Hart, Stuart Lowe's opponent, takes the free kick, goes towards half forward. Andy Thompson couldn't take the mark in front. Edwards tripped on his way through. He's asked for 50 and he's got 50.
50
There's
metres.
a report, is there?
Yeah.
So Justin Peckett has his number taken there for a deliberate trip by foot. With that comes 50 metres. Umpire Andrew Coates is the man on the spot.
Here it is here, Wheels. You have a look at James. Good evasive ability. Peckett just stuck out his right leg. Didn't appear to be much in it, but the rules are there.
And also it could be the third Crow goal from a 50 metre.
Yep, good point, Curls. 2 to Smart and 1 to Edwards.
So now that will be up to the AFL Tribunal during the week to adjudicate on. Tyson Edwards has been very good throughout the day, particularly in close where he's hard. He, Costa and McLeod are the top 3 tacklers for the Crows. They're prepared to get in and have a go at it. Hasn't kicked one yet this afternoon. So that's the third goal to the Crows from 50-metre penalties.
On 7 Nightly News, it's the Crows' last attempt to resurrect their season and start a run for the finals. Chris Dittmar will be at Waverley for the St Kilda clash, and we'll bring you Blighty's view on the aftermath at 6 o'clock.
On Today Tonight, are doctors making you pay too much for pills?
Everett beats Herbert. And once again, Campbell hit the ball at 1,000,000 miles an hour, but they haven't got the football now. Smart has it for the Crows. Back to centre half forward. Vardy caught underneath the ball. Wakeland. Darryl Wakeland. Well, off the side of the boot, went sideways and out of bounds at half back.
And knowing that Robert Harvey's missed a lot of footy over the last month, I just wonder whether it's time for Timmy Watson to make a decision on Nathan Burke. He's been good on Vardy in a defensive post and a back pocket, maybe to generate some more hardness in the midfield to win the footy in that part of the ground. Maybe Burke could be the answer.
Saints free kick. Advantage goes to Francis. Tony Francis gallops across half back. Good Shepherd allows him to go further. And now Darryl Wakeland just up short of centre wing. Hudgston's run from defence. Here's Max. Up towards half forward. In short to Low. Oh, he should have marked it. Ben Hart said, thank you very much. Away to Stenglein. Youngster from Western Australia in his first season. Short to Edwards. Edwards with a bit of distance to centre wing. Young, Matty Young gets in front and beats Jarman to the pill. Adelaide by 9 points.
Young and McLaren work at half-back. A couple of little balls from Joey McLaren. All it did was put himself under more pressure with the kick falls to Hudson. Now Peckett. He's got Everett out wide and kicks it to him. So Peter Everett down in the forward line. St Kilda badly needing goals. They get him close enough, often enough. Need to be able to convert it.
And Terry Waller there, interchange for St Kilda. Hayes, Ryan, Elliott, Gowers.
Peter Everett has 1 goal. Kicked in the first quarter at this end. This one really just gets in for a behind, and that's all. A bad Mr. Spider. Hasn't kicked more than 2 goals this year, Spider, so he hasn't been the dominant player in the forward line that we've come to know.
It just appeared then that Stewie Lowe got mesmerised to where he was. It looked like he just left the ball, hoping that the ball would go through the goals.
Interchange for Adelaide, Stevens, Orman Allen, Jamison, Gallagher.
And the thing about those interchanges is that Malcolm Blight has used all 22 players, but Tim Watson hasn't used Ryan or Elliott. Herbert. Francis claiming he's holding it. And the umpire says, no, I'll ball it up. Tony Francis with the look of a big man as he was holding Herbert down on the ground. I suppose in that situation, St. Francis was a big man. Well, the knock comes to Rasciuto. He ran into trouble with Zilla. Play on. The hand pass to Costa. And this is Kim Costa's 3rd touch for the day. Quite incredible. Johnson to the 50. Too long for McGregor. Here's Burton, always dangerous. And Young, I think, will be pretty happy to get that ball over the boundary line.
And Drew going back to Kimmy Costa. It's not as if he doesn't work. He's a very hard-working player. obviously not just running his way today.
So the Crows going with the breeze, which is going right to left in this third quarter. They need to build up a pretty handy lead, you'd reckon, by three-quarter time. But this has been St Kilda's bogey quarter for most of the season. Campbell's been in the thick of things this quarter. Hudson on all fours. Shane Wakeland near the boundary line, met by McLeod. Oh, Wakeland scoops it up. The ball eventually out of bounds. The Crows claiming a free kick for any number of reasons, but nothing doing.
Tony Francis there, he knows the heat's on for St Kilda. The Saints sat third on the ladder after round 10 with their win against Geelong down at Shell Stadium. Since then, they've only won twice against Richmond and Melbourne, and they've fallen to 7th. Their position in the 8th really under the pump. And Adelaide here, not to make it easy for the Saints at all. Wakeland to take the free kick. This is Shane Wakeland. Again, they switch the play across half-back line. Everett, a little bit of space for the big man, takes a bounce, continues the path this near side. Darryl Wakeland slips. Rod Jamison judges it the better and takes the mark.
Indirect football once again, short to a 50-50 contest.
Jamison puts it in towards the centre corridor. That's where they want it. Here's Bickley charging through. Works with Herbert. He back to Smart. Smart off one step. Kicks to within 30 metres of goal. Young does the spoiling. Jones at ground level. Johnson's with him. Johnson pushing, shoving. Both of those qualities take Jones over the line, the push and the shove.
Looks like Herbert's coming from the ground. Orman Allen's coming back onto the ground.
He'll be the new ruckman.
Barty takes the ball, tries to get it on out. Johnson caught in the Thompson tackle.
Well, at least Herbert's fit, girls.
You blokes think I'm joking. He is going to Everett.
He certainly is. Obviously trying to play as an extra midfielder. But no doubt Everett will just push forward, mismatch in height.
He's got a huge leap, Orman Allen. He'll need one.
He'll need it. He'll need a staircase.
So Wakeland doing the ruck work for the Saints in defence. Bounces on out. Half forward, Rashudo over the top of Harvey. They're looking for a free Costa, a good little push on out. The Crows win a free kick. Mitchell is hanging on to James.
50 metres again. That is just undisciplined play there by St Kilda.
And the supporters here for St Kilda are unhappy. But really, your call is the most accurate of all the expressions here at the moment, Mick. Undisciplined footy.
There's just no need for it. Like, the free kick was given. Hudson realised that the ball was certainly going to Brett James. Continued to run and carry the footy away from Brett James when he should have released the ball. 50-metre penalty, maybe fourth goal because of that result. And it is.
If you've been thinking about escaping the hustle and bustle of the city, you'd better see the new Pajero Escape, quick. Because with its powerful 3.5-litre V6, cruise control, alloy wheels, side steps, air conditioning, power windows and CD player, it's such great value that from only $40,900...
Right out of hand now. St Kilda conceding 4 goals from 50-metre penalties, and they trail by 14 points. Ormond Allen in the ruck against Everett. Everett clean possession. I'll tell you what, he'll know he's got an opponent though. That bloke will leave a few bruises. Up towards 50. Hart left his opponent low to hit the ball running. Beautiful kick.
That's a much better matchup too on low, Hart.
Kane Johnson goes for a gallop. He's taken all the way to the 50. Well, not quite. Front of the pack, Bickley. The whistle's gone. And a St Kilda free kick at last. And listen to the crowd.
Yeah, over the shoulder here. There it is there. Good free kick. Certainly there.
They work it into the breeze. Peckett has been reported this quarter for a trip. Campbell's been good in this third quarter. Poor kick. Rashudo. Oh, that's a great kick by Mark Rashudo. And Johnson's getting on the end of some beautiful kicks out of defence.
And another long one.
It's a half forward. Bickley, the skipper, goes a half-distance pass. Well, this fella's kicked a couple. Might get another one here.
And I think, Drew, that's typified the day. St Kilda, with their short passing, will turn the footy over. Whereas when the Adelaide Crows win the footy, particularly players like Rashudo, very penetrating with their ball use and length of their kicking, they got the ball out of the danger zone, and Burton's got a shot on goal.
And Burton gets his third.
Goal has put the Saints under all sorts of pressure. St Kilda hit the front for the first time, 20-minute mark of the second quarter. But since then, Adelaide have kicked 4 unanswered goals. You'd expect to be looking at the side that are looking to maintain a spot in the final 8 to be putting up a better performance than this.
Okay, fellas, tell me, have you ever seen a smaller ruckman than Orban Allen?
No, officially, he's got it.
Edwards out, but there's a free kick back where the contest was. Umpire Scott McLaren, an experienced umpire, he's nearing 100 games himself, gives it to Stewie Lowe.
We might just find out the value of a ruckman. Unless Everett can find teammates, their value might be nil.
Well, here's Everett in the forward line. It gets on down towards Jones. Cross the body. That's a great effort. The Crows getting back, though. The Adelaide defence have been very good today.
Yeah, Rashudo, he's been very good across half-back. He's had 16 possessions, 13 and 3. Ben Hart's done his role on Stewie Lowe. Admittedly, Stewie Lowe's taken some good marks, but Hart's also been a rebounding defender.
And Burke's gone on the ball, boys.
So Costa, as Neil Curley said, just one of the few touches for Kim today, but he's backing up with a couple of back-to-backs here. Works with Edwards. It's a fine line out there for the Crows. They're trying to find their way through. They can't. They only find the boundary line, and it's a throw-in. James Gowan was the player for the Saints to wrap it all up with a good, strong tackle.
And at this stage, because Burke's gone back into the midfield, he certainly had to get to that part of the ground. McLaren's gone back to a back pocket. Maybe a player like Stephen Ziller should go pick up Vardy, because I think McLaren's run could be very valuable for St Kilda.
Orban Allen does the ruck work and then wins the kick. Inside 50, here's Jarman, right on the 50, right on the boundary line. He goes towards the square, it bounces. It's a live one for them. Burton, he's kicked 3, gives it off to Goodwin. He's kicked 1, goes at it. It's another mark, it's McGregor.
Another one that should have been punched through for a behind.
The Saints defence
That's good.
holds everywhere.
Umpire has called it back. Time on was called. It's the reason why the footy's going back to McGregor. Young players have to think their way through this situation. Don't panic. Have a look. If there's nothing on inside, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to open up the angle and kick across my body a la Darren Jarman?
Well, he's had a go at it.
But missed.
So the youngest man on the ground has a go, but misses that particular shot at goal. So let's have a look at it from up on high. He gets out far enough, but not the skills yet of D. Jarman quite.
I just think he didn't give himself enough time to get closer to goal for that hook, Terry. There's still too much space between the man on the mark and where he actually kicked it. When you do kick across your body like that, you hook it a little bit, it does go very fine.
Darryl Wakeland clears the 50. Here's Everett. Now he needs to find a teammate. Gotcha. Nathan Burke. Burke's kicked to half forward in the direction of Hall. Crunch. Oh, well played to Ben Thompson. Down to the forward line. A one-out contest. A bit of a juggle. Almost taken by Gowans. Rashudo. Edwards. Hart. And the Crows out of trouble. James.
Great football. Great defensive football.
Button! Oh, no! He had the Cadburys wrapped up. Off the ground he goes to half forward. Johnson. Very high towards the 50. And Jarman again, always dangerous. Oh, look at this. Look at this. He measures it. Oh, what a goal. Did right through the middle. Absolute class.
And you'd have to say, boys, the Crows have a lot more method in their game than St Kilda at this stage.
There's certainly no doubt about that, Curls. They have more direction. They have a focal point in the forward line. They're prepared to go there. Here's the Saints. Ziller will put him into the half-forward line. The best chance. Hall pushing and shoving. Keeps his feet. Runs into the low. They need to get it on the up. Does feed on out, but only into the path of Edwards. Tyson Edwards. McLeod. Quieter game today compared to last week when he had 26 touches against Crawford. Smart. Everett comes on in. Here's Burton. Great hands. The burst of McLeod. This is direct football. Into the centre corridor. Into centre half forward. McGregor over the top of Shane Wakeland. Matthew Young there to support for the Saints. Pirouettes out of trouble to Lenny Hayes. Back to Young. The forward handball. Always dangerous, but Hudson works it on back to McLaren. Another one. They need the kick. Here it is from Zilla. Hall's on out wide. They found him.
And there's the difference, getting the ball into the centre corridor. It's amazing when you do that, it gives your key forwards 3 options to lead. Left of the goal square, straight up the ground, or to the right of the goal square. 3-dimensional play is very hard to protect from the defender's point of view. That's what St Kilda have got to do more of.
So Hall has 2 goals straight. From right on the 50. He's missed it. St Kilda's woes in the third quarter continue. 22 and a half minutes in the third quarter, but here's Burton. Look, up he goes again. And Drew, you've seen a lot of him.
Oh, he is just, I reckon he's got 8 out of the top 10 candidates for Mark of the Year. St Kilda's third quarter woes certainly continuing. The Crows have kicked 4-1 to 3 points in this third quarter.
Now, Terry, you've coached footy. Lowe is without doubt the most dangerous big man out there today at centre-half forward. Why take him out of there and put him in the ruck when you have Everett there?
I agree with you. You know, Stewie in close is their best chance.
Here's Jarman again in the goal square. He flogged Hudson a few minutes ago and he's just done it again.
Well, Mick McWan let the adjective of freak slip out earlier on. It's not too far off the mark, is it? Just over such a long period of time in Australian rules football at the highest level, he's done it week after week.
And Jars has got 3.
46 points, trails 77. The centre bounce from above. Everett in ruck. Orman Allen does very well again. A big leap. So all he has to do is make contact with the footy, leave it to the ground level players to sort out from there. But the Saints take it through Hayes into half forward. Here's clean work at ground level as Andy McLeod on out towards Smart.
Mr. Electric Lux at ground level.
Orman Allen.
Yeah, good change of direction just to make Everett accountable, because Everett was pushing forward to block the hole. Orman Allen dragged him out of that area. Good change of direction there by Nigel Smart. Going back to the same spot.
Mick, there would be the instruction to give it to Orman Allen on every opportunity to ensure that Everett is committed to him.
Yep.
Here's James, his 100th game of AFL footy. Young at the front, takes the mark. Good couple of grabs at it from the front position. Plays on quickly to Burt. They go across the ground now. Gowans at half-back for the Saints.
Everett this time. Gallagher standing the mark. Everett hasn't seen anybody today who's half his size. In he comes to Hudson, who must be shot after the last 4 or 5 minutes against Jarman. To Burt. Thompson. And now Young. Kicked by Young. Hall. Saints still looking for their first goal this quarter. A fumble by Barry. And I don't know what happens to St Kilda in the third quarter, but somebody's given them the hex over the last month.
Well, Stewie Lowe's actually telling his players further afield, get the ball back in that grid. From point post to the centre square line on both sides of the ground. That's where you've got to win the footy if you're going to kick goals. You're not going to kick goals from where Barry Hall was about to receive the footy from. Low percentage, very difficult shot on goal. You're better off getting the ball back into that central part of the ground where Lowe or Hall can compete.
Interesting change for St Kilda. Elliott on, tall man. Francis off, small man.
Lowe wins in ruck, got the ball back out of bounds. Well, it's not as though this is a gale curls from right to left. In fact, I think the breeze might have died off a bit, hasn't it?
I think it has dropped away just a tad, but there's still a little bit going to the left end.
Well, you certainly can score into it. St Kilda scored 3 in the first quarter, and the Crows scored 2 in the second. So if the Saints go goalless in this quarter, it'll be their fault, not the wind's fault. Smart spoils low. Andrew Thompson gone out of it a bit. Back to Campbell. A centering ball. Chance for Hall. Whoa, about 8 of them went for it. Zilla pulled off his hand pass. Here's the ruckman, Orman Allen. Took a bit of a knock from Lowe, but he gets it back to Hart. And they're too smart, the Crows. Experience. David Gallagher runs away and clears the 50. It's a 31-point lead to the Crows.
This the boy has played well since he's come on, Johnson.
Johnson has made a difference. Gallagher hasn't been too bad either, Curl. So the interchange bench has worked well for the Crows.
Yeah.
And Gallagher's kick finds Burton.
Well, you wouldn't know if St Kilda's interchange is working because he hasn't used most of it.
Johnson, Jarman, deftly to the right, then to the left, into the forward line. Vardy keeps his feet. Shane Wakelin off the ground. Works with Peckett. Wakelin providing the shepherd. Peckett goes to the outer side to Young again. He's getting a fair bit of it. That's the 17 disposals to Matthew Young. It's an accurate one. Thompson running on to 50. They need to make something of this. Behind is low. Did he touch it? It goes over the back. Let's hope he didn't. He hasn't.
Ben Hart's not happy.
I think Ben will call for a fingerprint dust on the ball.
Yeah.
He claims that Stewie's Lowe may well be on it.
Yeah, good play there by Thompson. Really attacked the cold face of the goal square. Backed his instincts, kicked the ball low and flat. Lowe certainly didn't touch that ball. Benny Hart certainly thought he did. But that's the goal that St Kilda needed to get because Adelaide previously had kicked the previous 6 goals of the game.
Back in the centre. And just in time, a goal for the Saints. Less than a minute to three-quarter time. Burke out of the middle. Oh, good effort by Rashudo. And then pushed in the back, and he'll take a free kick.
St Kilda's last goal before that was at the 21st minute mark of the second quarter. The one by Lenny Hayes.
James goes wide. Oh, McLeod, brilliant play. Then goes off the ground. He's following up. He might get it back again. But Young leaves his opponent to dash up the ground for the Saints. Another one will be handy for the home side. Campbell waited for it. The Crows haven't waited all day. James spoiled. Down to Bickley. Back to James eventually. Little kick in. Oh, shocker. Wakelin takes the mark to Hodgson. 12 seconds remaining in the term. Oh, Hodgson's given it away to Benke. Maxie Hodgson has been in the Bermuda Triangle this quarter. Short pass and McGregor has it. Big boy, big lump of a lad. Siren. He'll need to kick a 55-metre drop punt after the siren.
I'll tell you now, he will get the distance. Huge kick, this boy.
Yep, I like his chances.
And Drew, just as he's lining up for goal, I think one pertinent part of the game today is the Adelaide's defence. They've rebounded 28 times from that part of the ground from St Kilda's 37 entries.
McGregor gets the distance but hooked it and kicked the behind. So he's kicked 1 goal, 2. But boy, that is a handy break to the Adelaide Crows. And St Kilda's season and position in the 8 is going to be on the line in the last half hour here at Waverley. Hodgson, he had 2 goals kicked on him by Jarman, then gave it up to McGregor. But look at this, at three-quarter time, 78-52. Crows lead by 26 points, 12-6 to 7 goals 10. And the Saints once again in heaps of bother after an inept third quarter. Aerial shots coming to us from the Goodyear blimp. Now we'll take a shot of the ladder as it stands coming into this round and show you how important this is for St Kilda, because just around them are Sydney and Carlton. The Swans play Essendon tonight in Sydney, and Carlton play the Bulldogs tomorrow. And if Sydney and Carlton both win and St Kilda can't win here, the Saints will go out of the 8 after being at one stage 3rd earlier in the season. So the three-quarter time address here for Tim Watson is just about all the season or nothing for the Saints. It's incredible the slump they've had. They've lost 5 out of their last 7 and maybe heading for another defeat here.
So the big question here is Stewie Lowe. Drew, late in the quarter there, he puts his hands up here as the ball comes in from Thompson. And the question is whether he touched it or not. I just think the way he pulled the hand down there, he might suspect he may have. And Ben Hart, he certainly had an opinion and carried it on with the umpire a little bit. But the goal for Thompson did stand.
I think from that there is little doubt that Stewie touched that one. Down on boundary level, Curls.
Yeah, thanks very much, Drew. Well, we have the situation here. It's very similar to 3 weeks ago from the Crows' point of view. 26 points up at this stage. They were 40 points up at this stage against the Bulldogs and got beaten. Now the big question is, do the Crows have to score a goal to win the footy match? Now, I think they would. Maybe 1 or 2 goals would make it an absolute certainty for the Crows, which would be a very, very good win.
Yeah, great summary of the situation, Curls.
And Drew, Everett starting at full forward. Hall and Stuart Lowe are basically playing across centre forward. Tim Elliott's gone into the ruck for St Kilda. 3 tools might make it a congested area for their forward line. A little bit concerned with that setup.
And Ormond Allen, the shortest ruckman in league football ever, has won the centre hit out. And the Crows go forward. They're at the 50 already, and the ball being blocked up on the attacking 50. Trent Ormond Allen, and he just went over the top of Elliott and won it.
It's just wonderful. Malcolm Blood, he pulled Mark Stevens first up. That was to be the ploy. He stuck with the ploy by going with another unheralded ruckman in Ormond Allen. As you said, Drew, he's been very good in there.
Good tackle on Peckett, but he had no chance of getting rid of the ball. The umpire will ball it up.
One thing about Ormond Allen, his attack on the ball could never be questioned. He does attack it ferociously, so he doesn't care about whether he gets hurt or not. Is a jumping player. Probably a surprise by many, but obviously a good tactic by Blighty.
And I think often his opponent worries about whether he's going to get hurt or not, because a few of them playing on this young number 21 have been hurt.
And also, Drew, to follow up what you said before, that the breeze has died right down in the Crows' favour.
And the Seagulls have arrived here at Waverley almost like vultures circling above St Kilda.
So here's Tim Elliott to take on the ruck work in the centre bounce. Zilla trying to barge through. You don't get past Rashudo. Uses his hands to find Harvey. Campbell off the interchange bench at half-time and was very good in that third quarter. Into the path of Thompson, courageously at the ball. Spills away. Jones. Saints need something. Hall can't take it. All the big men are down there, but the Crows have numbers at ground level. Bassett and Smart work together. Takes a bounce to carry it out of the defensive 50. Kicks onto the outer side. Benke there with Darryl Wakeland. Darryl Wakeland does well to turn the ball back inside. McLaren and Burke. Nathan Burke. High, low, in front. Spoilt by Bassett. Thompson cleans up. Back inside. Here's Everett. Here's their best goal-scoring chance.
Did I see James on Everett in the pocket?
Yeah, well, you just did, merely because his opponent is Smart Curls, and Smart was the player that actually tried to rebound that footy. James was in the area. He tried to cover, but it's not a direct matchup.
Big Peter Everett, eyes darting. I'd much prefer him to make the decision to kick the goal himself. 4 goals in the last quarter from Peter Everett would be just what the Saints need. Has he got the first of them? That face says it all. He was good in the last quarter last week. He kicked 3 goals from that position to get the St Kilda side up and over Melbourne. The Saints have only come back from behind to win after trailing 3/4 time twice this year. Their best was against the win against Geelong when they were 19 down. Today they've got to do it from 26. It's a big ask. Jones is fighting as if he can do it. Hall out at half forward. Gallagher intercepts. Looks to turn it back for the Crows, and the next one kick into the forward line is a little bit of space for them. Johnson gathers it. The run from behind. Goodwin, Costa, charging through the centre, directly in towards full forward, pushing, shoving. Wakeland spoils. Ground level, good tackling, holds it up. Here's Jamison. Handballs back inside excellently. Bickley, the skipper, stands from one step up high in the square. Young's there, takes it and runs away.
Matthew Young slipped. You don't want to do that back there. McLaren. Good run by Costa to put McLaren off his kick, and it paid dividends. Edwards the mark.
Their short game today has got them into more trouble than what it's worth. They've just got to learn to come out of defence and play a better, direct brand of footy. Turn it over by foot, just short. It's costly turnovers.
Oh, yeah. Even though Costa hasn't had much leather today, that's just part of the team game that he's playing. He contributed to this shot at goal for the Crows with a great chase.
And boys, an interesting turnout here. We have now Ormond Allen playing in the back pocket on Everett and Smart on the ball.
Jarman for his 4th. Just offline and through for a minor score. So if they need 1 goal in this last quarter to make them safe, they still haven't got it yet. Tim Watson, who earlier on must have thought, well, this is okay. During the season, the Saints have beaten Essendon, the Dogs, the Eagles. They lost to the Kangaroos by just 2 points. They look final certainties. Now no longer.
This is one of the reasons they've struggled of late. Robert Harvey's absence. back in there today. Taking up possessions, that's 19 disposals. Burke and Peckett, they've done that often, just bring it across the ground, directly across. But they need to be aggressive with this final receive and take the game on down through the guts.
Centre corridor footy.
So Darryl Wakeland gives it to Ziller in that spot. Goes directly in. Hall's outnumbered. Spoiled away by Bassett. Stewie Lowe has to do it at ground level. Costa does very well for Shepherd, allowing Johnson to clean it up. Works with Smart. Under pressure. Kick off the side of the boot. Crows leading in the race. Saints coming at it. Lenny Hayes does very well. Turns straight into Smart. He's going nowhere. The ball's going to be bounced.
Yeah, and Hayes is the player who probably sensed the urgency of the moment. And that's what they need. More leaders with the attack on the footy. At the moment, Adelaide is certainly leading in that department. Burke, Thompson, Francis, Harvey, Everett, Lowe, the leaders of this group have really got to stand up in the last 14 or 15 minutes of footy.
Whistle.
And what we've seen also, the mid-sized players of the Crows have been far more effective than the St Kilda boys.
And Aussie Jones had 10 possessions in the first quarter, and he's now had just 18. So he's gone right out of it.
Much the good work of Goodwin. He stabilised that position. Very disciplined player is Goodwin.
Oh, Ziller didn't even get a touch. Burke to Harvey. He's kicked towards the 50. It's there for the Saints. Taken away by Rashudo. He's a muscle man. Away to Bickley. Oh, great kick by Bickley to Hart. Beautiful use of space by Ben Hart as well, but he wasn't let down by his teammate. Perfect disposal. 26-point lead still to the Crows. It was 26 at three-quarter time. Just a point each in this last term so far.
And Johnson starting to accumulate a lot of the footy. Started the first quarter basically on the interchange bench, but since then he's had 22 possessions.
Yeah, terrific game. But ball spills out St Kilda's way. Peckett, Bickley's got him. The umpire comes in and will ball it up. Well, if the Crows just spoil and smother and tackle and knock the ball over the boundary line, use up time, they'll win. And as Curls reckons, maybe just one goal for the Crows will clinch it for them.
Smart. His kick smothered by Burke. Johnson, who has had a fair bit of the footy, to Bickley, to Tyson Edwards. He runs on in. That could be it.
Coaching was easy about 2 months ago for Tim Watson. Well, Ormond Allen even looks tall from up there.
True, it just has a similar ring to last year, doesn't it? The way they've capitulated away in the second half of the season, the Saints.
Sure does. Burke. Crows have been good in defence. James, he'll handball. He is one of the best he'd give a bloke a rap. He's one of the best in the competition. He misses Rashudo there by about 5 metres. Kick smothered. Johnson. Hayes dives at it. And Kane Johnson started on the bench and he's up to 23 possessions. And would you believe he's taken 11 marks?
Couple of good defensive acts. One by Thompson to smother. And also I like the attack on the footy there by Hayes. His last 2 attacks on the ball have been full of merit.
Well, the Saints need 6 goals to 0 to win the game from here. Harvey from near the boundary line, up and down the mine shaft. It's not a mark, it hasn't gone 10. Oh, did he pay?
He's paid it.
Oh, it went about 4
metres too. 50 metres too against Ormond Allen. And rightfully so. St Kilda's first of the day. They've been fairly disciplined, the Adelaide Crows. But Stewie Lowe gets his opportunity.
Now, he has paid this mark, has he? Harvey is inside the 50 when he kicked that. And look at where Lowe takes the mark. That's gone about 4 metres.
So what was that 50 for? Questioning the umpire, was it?
Actually tapping the ball out of the hand.
Okay.
Goal to Lowe.
He's first.
But that is not a mark, Nick. Has he paid that mark?
Yeah, he certainly did. He paid the mark. Rashudo still discussing with the umpire as to why the 50 metres was given. We'll have a look at the Goodyear blimp replay. There's the kick inside the 50, straight in the air, gone about 4 to 5 metres. Paid the mark. Here's Ormond Allen throwing him ground.
There's Harvey in the foreground.
Basically thrown to ground either against Ormond Allen or Rashudo.
Well, the Crows can't argue about the 50-metre penalties. They've scored, 3 or 4 goals on them.
4 goals, Girls.
No, but the decision on the mark is nearly the worst decision this season.
distance versus displacement.
Well, it went 50 metres, no worries. 25 up and 25 down.
Everett does take the ball out of the ruck, but the Crows just swamp him at ground level. They've taken it away again. They've been very good in there today. They've charged at it here now through Costa. McLaren from half back, under a little pressure, can't get to Harvey. Edwards has been very good. Quick hands with Jarman. Eventually back to Johnson. He's enjoying his 50th game. Edwards does the smothering. The Crows have got all the answers just at the moment.
And also, Terry, when you look at the big man strength, you know, in favour of St Kilda, it's a great effort by the Crows.
When you look at their playing list, there were 12 players unavailable for selection for the Adelaide Crows this week. They've got 6 players out there playing in their first year. Malcolm Blight is actually overseeing the transition from double premierships over the last 2 years into putting the club into a position to be able to win another one within the next 2 years. There's no doubt about that at all. And there perhaps is his replacement sitting there with him, Darryl Hart. James, forward handball, Rashudo, Johnson, Goodwin, numbers around the football. Handball execution, excellent, ends up with Binky on the outer side.
Here's the Roxinger, just forward of centre wing. Inside the 50, Burton actually underneath the ball, so it must have been pretty hard for him to be underneath. Shane Wakelin away. McLaren, Andrew Thompson. McLaren will get it back from Harvey. Good running, Joe McLaren. He's kicked the full forward. Well, actually, Bassett's been really good back in defence. Benke again. Oh, look at the space here for Andy McLeod. He can cut you up from there. Jarman. Well, if you've got McLeod and Jarman combining, you're in trouble.
Yeah, wonderful transition of play once again by the Adelaide Crows. Here's McLeod from the Goodyear blimp shot once again. Well-weighted kick to the advantage of his teammate in Darren Jarman. Probably a difficult shot from goal or for goal for any player, but we know Jarman's capabilities. It wouldn't surprise anybody here at Waverley Park today to see him actually kick this goal.
This for number 4. Nope. Away to the right and a behind. So he's kicked 3 goals, 2. He was scoreless last week, but prior to that he kicked 27 goals in 5 matches, including 9 straight against Melbourne.
So there's no doubting his abilities.
Well, I think the Crow boys have got long memories of that last fade out against Western Bulldogs. They're working very hard.
Johnson's one of the hardest workers of the lot. Here's McLeod. Jarman just doing enough in the back of the contest. In control in the forward line, and here's Andy McLeod. Still upset with that miss at goal as Jarman, but as Drew Morford said, when you have McLeod and Jarman on fire in the forward line, goals are going to come.
Need a bit of luck.
And it's interesting to see McLeod now. He's basically not playing on Tony Francis. Tony Francis has been removed from the ground. Francis, I believe, done a fairly good job, except for McLeod got away for about 5-minute period in that third quarter.
McLeod gets his first.
Saints fans have given up on their heroes.
Come on, Trent, go hard.
Ormond Allen against Everett. It gets up pretty high too, number 21, and Adelaide win it. Burton out of the middle. Hudson gets back for the Saints. Peckett kicks out wide, just past the Seagulls. Campbell. Oh, good contest, James. Play on. James kick back to half forward. Peckett. Well, the Crows played at Waverley earlier this season and beat Hawthorn in round 2 by 4 points. They look as though they might make it 2 out of 2. Another 50-metre penalty, this time going to Peckett, who gave one away when he was reported for a trip. Peckett on the breeze, just short of full forward. Everett underneath it. Lots of players here. It's too crowded for the forwards. Comes out to Lowe. Tunnels the ball. Bassett's there. Burton, absolute class. It'll be a great contest in that Norwich Union Rising Star Award between himself and Goods. Rashudo, very Goods there. Play on. The whistle went. Free was paid. Advantage to Jarman. Wide. Johnson just can't reach it.
And there's another example of having 3 tall players in your forward 50. Tall players more or less make players come to them. And if the ball happens to go to ground, it's in congestion more often than not. St Kilda at some stage have got to look for a better, probably forward structure, knowing that their key players, if they don't mark the ball, it's been the Adelaide defence that have cleared it far too easily and far too often.
Gallagher with just a quick kick on out. Some space, McLaren cleaning up. Not sure where to go, in fact concedes ground back to Young. St Kilda were in front for 1 minute late in the second quarter. Other than that, it has just been all the Crows. Zilla.
Phil, I've got to say, Terry, this is some of the worst disposal I've ever seen in an AFL game.
Let's see what Timmy Costa can do here now. He drags it around. Jarman can't take it. Gallagher spinning out. Caught up in the second tackle from Thompson, and that's dropping the ball.
Well, when a ball hits Darren Jarman on the head, something strange is happening.
Yeah, well, he actually slipped on that occasion, Drew, as the ball was coming forward. But it's just been, as Curl said, it's the foot disposal, probably more from St Kilda's point of view. That was a good kick. But they're going too short and putting themselves under pressure, trying to find players who are got their direct opponent sitting right behind them.
So Peckett received it from low, then on out to Darryl Wakeland on the outer side.
Harvey off, boys.
Up in the forward line, Burke working it. Robert Harvey takes a spell, the game well beyond them. Adelaide led at quarter time by 9 points. It was just 3 at half time, but then a 5-goal to 1 third quarter. Their lead was out to 26, now it's 33. So with Harvey off, Jarman involved there, but Harvey off, the game seemingly right out of the Saints' control now.
Well, it was the disposal which made the ball hit Jarman on the head, because he had to change direction and slipped. Burton, he can mark, he can tackle, he can smother, he can kick goals. Smart's been fantastic. Back to Rashudo, who's right back in business. And Benke was clean bowled. Taken by Hayes. Oh, Burton intercepts. Away come the Crows. Bickley breaks from half-back. Up towards the centre, drawing a man. Kane Johnson can't stop getting the ball. Johnson's kick inside 50. Gallagher runs onto it. Could get a goal here, young David Gallagher. Around Aussie Jones easily. Poor old kick. He just put that up in the air and threw for a behind.
Gee, fellas, Timmy Watson up to the completion, or now even, he's got some terrible, terrible problems.
Well, there's Robbie Harvey. Today, 16 kicks, 6 handballs. So 22 disposals, and his season average is 28 and a half. So he's come back from the calf injury, not quite up to speed how we've known him in the last 2.5 seasons.
So here comes Zilla, drags it on into, and here's Barry Hall. And is this the start of the comeback that you tipped, Curls? Because didn't you tip the Saints at the start of the game, mate?
Thank you, Terry, for reminding me.
Just thought it was an opportune moment.
I just thought their big man's strength would be the deciding issue, but that hasn't been the fact.
And I would agree with you that it should have been. They've been most disappointing in that area. Hall, he has 2 goals, 1 in the first and 1 in the second. It's a belated one, but he's got his third.
Here's a family who wants to enhance their outdoor.
The years have been telling us how important they are in the overall scheme of the game. And here it's meant absolutely nothing. So this is one for the little bloke's wheels.
And I think the guilty part, and if you want to name, Matthew Young, Justin Peckett and Nathan Burke have just messed around across the half-back line too many times today, when the more direct route is what you should be taking.
Yep, valid point.
5.5 minutes to go. 28-point deficit for the Saints. I suppose if miracles happened, it could happen. But on play, you wouldn't put any money on it.
No, there's no way the Crows would let this slip anywhere out of their grasp today. They've been extremely good at the entire components of the game, attacking the ball, aggressive at it, and in terms of completing the skills.
There's one for a big fella. Everett's got it right in front. On the breeze, he goes long and he's kicked it into the next suburb, but nowhere near goals. That was a shocker, Pete.
Yeah, disappointing return from Everett. Obviously trying to get a goal scored for St Kilda just by blazing away. But that's typified St Kilda's approach today. They haven't been methodical at all, especially their entries into their forward 50.
Burke will find it hard to get a ball out of here. The umpire balls it up. So time, 4 minutes 43 to go.
Mickey, you're right. They're burst runners. going through the midfield area. They just haven't been there today.
Yeah, they just haven't been able to generate any run through. They haven't had any players running the lines, merely because they've been stagnant. They've tried to kick it short and play the possession game rather than trying to invent some run into their play. Aussie Jones was good early. McLaren's been in and out of it. Harvey's been the same. Burke's gone to midfield, tried to give a lift. Thompson's got a fair amount of the footy, but generally there's been no run in their legs.
Mind you, the Crows' defence has been very good too.
Oh, exactly. No doubt about that.
Now, Nigel Smart has been terrific, and he's gone ahead of the play here. He's got his 2 goals, Curls. He's nominated, he wanted 3 for today, and he might be looking for it too in the last 4 minutes of play.
No, Nigel's put him in defence in the last quarter. Malcolm, sorry.
That doesn't stop him kicking goals, though.
Where's his head shining? I can't see him.
Yeah, he's across half-back. He's by himself at this stage. Most St Kilda players push back, try to flood the hole, but the Adelaide Crows will basically play a possession game, try to find someone free, otherwise kick long to their tallest target in their forward 50.
So David Gallagher into half forward, and there's Brian Benke again.
Yeah, and when St Kilda have had possession of the ball and gone forward, they've just left far too many Crows players unattended for the turnover ball coming back.
Benke, who made his debut against Hawthorn earlier in the year, was in round 2. He's kicked 2 goals twice, including last week. This one right up to the square. There's Everett. Bounces out of his hands, the only man there. St Kilda have to work it at ground level. Peckett and Burke again combined. This time the kick wobbles on out of defence though. Not an effective one. Jones met heavily by Smart. Gallagher works with Smart. Everett over the top. So Elliott in underneath there, the big man, and the bounce will be executed just 5 metres in from the boundary line. But St Kilda continue to trail, and the third quarter continues to be their bogey. During the last 4 games, they've kicked 2-2, 1-1 goals in the third quarters. And you're never going to win a game of football doing that.
Yeah, and if they blamed the wind today, and we're hoping for the wind to help them home in the last quarter, it just hasn't happened. There's been 2 goals each in the last.
It's just not there, is it? No, it's clearly been just the lack of direct play out of defence, channeling the ball into where St Kilda's strength is and inside their marking options in the forward line. Bickley just quickly on into the forward line, flying up over the top is Hart, spins around, loses his footing. The handball doesn't find a Crow. The Saints take it through Burke out towards the wing.
Andrew Thompson takes an excellent mark. Away to Elliott, dodging and weaving.
There's another example.
Yeah, and the kick to no one. It's gone wide, and it's 55 metres from goal, and so easy for Bassett to see it out.
Yeah, too many players are trying to do, or trying to complicate the issue. Elliott had the opportunity as soon as he received that handball to go direct to their marking players. Decided to evade, give himself some space. In doing that, he put himself under pressure to kick the ball.
Well, that's a free kick to Lowe. Hart over his shoulder for his leap. He got a pretty high bent, Hart. Lowe couldn't make the distance from there. He centres the ball for Hall, who's gone right out of it. Bassett's been excellent. Campbell hooked it back too far for a behind. Brad Campbell playing just his 3rd game of the year, 21st of his career.
It's not as if it's going to get any easier for St Kilda, Drew. After this week, they then take on the Western Bulldogs, Kangaroos, Carlton, and then finish up with round 22 against the West Coast Eagles at the Wacker. That's a fair month of football in anyone's language.
Yeah, and they're so unstable at the club. I mean, Ken Sheldon got the sack. He got him in the finals. Stan Alves got him in the finals. He got the sack. So, Timmy, you don't want to miss out too often. Back towards midfield. Courageous effort in there by Elliott. But he gave the hand pass straight to Smart. Here's his chance, girls.
3rd goal.
Oh, he might follow up and get it back. Good pass to McGregor. No, he's not running past, but he's worked beautifully. Just a minute to go. The Crows are going to beat the Saints for the 2nd time this year, but importantly, away from home at Waverley in Melbourne. Gallagher. Oh! We waited till the last minute, but there it is, and the goal.
Sunday, a wicket.
Find your feet, play on and kick a great goal. Your fourth for the day in another terrific effort from a promising young player, Brett Burton.
Brett Burton.
He nearly knocked the whip out of the air.
Unbelievable. If Cadbury's don't give him a whole box and dice of chocolates, I'll go eat. Continually does it. He's in the area again. Peckett has it for St Kilda. It's down to 30 seconds of the game left. Peckett's kick misses Thompson. 3 Saints go in there. Crows trying to work it on out. It's Edwards at the bottom of it, but it's Brett Burton. That is just unbelievable how regularly he does it.
And how about taking the mark of the day and playing on to kick the goal?
Yep, he's done that on 2 occasions. And he actually had another chance to take a terrific mark over Nathan Burke on centre wing, but terrific victory.
There she blows. The Crows win and the Saints officially have the wobbles. And that's only Adelaide's 4th win in the last 3 months. Their previous victims have been well outside the 8. But today they've beaten the top 8 side in St Kilda. And where to now for the Saints?
Yeah, well, where to now, I suppose. The question's got to come back to the players concerned. They're the players that have got, they're the blokes that have got to get themselves out of the hole they've dug. Responsibility's got to lie within the playing ranks. I always say responsibility divided, the ability to choose your response. You can control your own direction at times. That's where St Kilda are at the moment. To Adelaide's credit, they were the team of the moment. They attacked the footy from the start. But down to you, Curls.
Yeah, thanks very much, boys. Well, Mark, this captain of this team, you're a pretty happy man tonight.
Yeah, very happy. You know, we're undermanned as far as big men go, and you look at St Kilda, they've probably got 2 or 3 of the best big men in the game. So for us to be flexible enough to have a different game plan and still get away with the 4 points is a great effort.
Obviously, it was banked on a lot of run and movement, and particularly from your smaller players.
Yeah, it had to be. We had to play on as soon as we could and just get back and move it quickly. And our young fleet were great, and Burton in the air again was good. And we just moved around the forward line, and we just took a while to break through. The second half was much better.
If Burton hadn't got that high mark tied up yet, he should have that one there.
The way he's going, he might end up with all 6 in the mark of the year. He just has a happy knack of doing it, and he's just one of those guys you come to watch to play footy.
You blokes are still in there. You're in with a chance now.
Oh, yeah, well, it's a good win today, and we can build on this, and next week's another week, and we'll give it our best shot.
All the best.
Thanks, mate.
Well, that's right, Curls. They're now only 1 game behind St Kilda. And depending on other results, with a month to go, look out the Crows. You just never know.
Yeah, well, that's one thing you certainly don't know about this football game. But to Adelaide Crows' credit, they kicked 15 goals today, but more importantly, 11 of them were from marks in their forward 50.
And they have 3 games at Footy Park, Drew. And next week they got Brisbane, then Sydney, but Port Adelaide and the Kangaroos. Just the way they played today.
Yeah. I've seen them a lot recently, and that was their best effort. I know Curls criticised the disposal, but disposal on both sides for the last 2 weeks has been absolutely terrible. But I just thought their application, and obviously, as the skipper said, they went in with a game plan, and that was one of their best wins in the last couple of months, I reckon, for the Crows. And I did hear somebody on radio say that if results fell particular ways, the Crows could even finish second, would you believe?
Hurry to McDonald's for your last chance.
Right on South Australia, with a mighty Adelaide Crow. We're courageous, stronger, faster, and respected by our foes. Admiration of the nation, and determination shows. We're the pride of South Australia, we're the mighty Adelaide Crows.
Well, they sang that with gusto, and why wouldn't they? They're now just 1 game out of the 8. 1 game behind St Kilda, who have got the wobbles, and the Crows 15-9-99 defeated St Kilda 9-12-66. They led at every change and won eventually by 33 points, with Burton kicking 4 goals and taking mark of the day, and Jarman kicking 3. The leading goal scorer for St Kilda was Barry Hall, who kicked 3 goals. It's amazing there to see the aerial shot of Waverley and to consider that at the end of this season it will no longer be an AFL venue. But I'm looking forward to football going to the Docklands to the stadium there in the new year. It should be fantastic. There was one other game played today, and it was the game at the MCG between Melbourne and Geelong. Let's take a look at some highlights.
Across the board, possessions basically even, marks much the same. The tackles, I thought Adelaide's pressure was very good. Centre breaks, they squared out after half-time when Adelaide had a ascendancy advantage. Inside 50s relatively even, but in the summary of the game, Adelaide Crows, it was their direct approach to goal, whereas St Kilda, they mucked around with it far too often across half-back.
Yeah, and they got beaten by 6 goals, and here are the votes that you've put in today.
Yeah, well, I gave Rashudo 3 merely because I thought he was the player that stabilised that back half, very strong at the footy. He typified the hardness of approach. Johnson, since come off the interchange bench, he was very good. He got 30-odd possessions. I thought Burton started in midfield, pushed forward to kick 4 goals. He was of enormous value for his team.
Well, when Burton's taking marks like that, you can't have enough cameras, and we had enough. Here's another angle of that mark.
Have a look at this, Drew. Get up, boy. Magnificent mark and a good goal.
This match in the 1999 AFL Premiership season proudly brought to you by UltraTune, Sip and Save and Mitre 10.